Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Megan, the faithful fibromyalgia warrior. It is Friday, the 7th of April, Good Friday. For those of us who are Christian, I know that in the Eastern Orthodox Church, that is next week, actually, just because of how their calendar falls. But happy Easter to everybody. And you know what? I feel so very blessed today. So very thankful. Yes, of course, because it's Good Friday, heading into Resurrection Sunday, when we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, of course. But not just that. It's more than just that. I feel energized and healthy, and that I'm healing constantly, and God is amazing. You know, last week we were at church. I was able to walk in by myself, no wheelchair, no crutch. I was able to sit and enjoy service. I brought a seat cushion this time so it wouldn't hurt my my tailbone. And I was able to walk around and see people and talk to people and just be more mobile, and it felt amazing. And people kept saying, "Oh, wow, you look so fantastic. You look so great." And it was nice to hear. But honestly, I had not even thought of that. It was so strange to me. I thought, I look fantastic, really? And I didn't think much about it. And I think what had happened was I was so stuck in my own mind that I couldn't see that I was getting even better. Even though I stood for a few songs and I felt energy and I felt revitalized and I felt encouraged, obviously, encouraged spiritually and emotionally, being at church. And it was all great. Don't get me wrong, that was all fantastic. But I realized that sometimes I get so much into my own head, I don't see the progress that's been happening in my life. Sometimes we don't see how we're changing ourselves because we get so used to thinking a certain way or feeling a certain way. And I think that happens to everybody at times if we're not careful. I mean, I spent 7 years in the mindset of, well, this is just my life forever. I'm just going to always have fibromyalgia. I'm always going to have inflammation. I'm always going to have chronic pain. This is just my life. I just have to accept it. What do I need to learn from this? And even though, yes, there were things to be learned, what I realized was if I'd been able to have the right mindset then that I have now, perhaps I would have found healing faster and sooner. Maybe not. I mean, I didn't, and so I can't go back and change history, but it just reminds me of how important it is to always look outside of my immediate situation when I'm going through something challenging or when it feels like nothing's happening, because if I don't, I forget to see how amazing God is and all that He's doing around me, right? I get so stuck in the mindset of I want to heal, I want to keep getting healthy, I want to feel better. I definitely want to see improvement in my physical health, and that has been getting better. I've reduced my gabapentin medication down, so I'm down from 2,100 milligrams per day to 1,800 per day, which is fantastic. I'm completely off all my statins. I have not had to take baclofen, which is a muscle relaxant. I've not needed that since last year. And one of the most important things I've learned over these last 2 weeks is to not have any coffee unless it's after I've eaten. Because otherwise it screws up my satiety signals, my hunger signals, and it throws everything off, and that's no good, right? So I've been probably eating more than I have in a long time, yet feeling satiated, healthy, full, and to be fair, in a lot of ways, I think I've been feeling better now than I have in a long time. And I've lost a bit more water weight. I've noticed my hips and waist circumference has come down a little. So there's already been a little bit of fat loss there. And that's just by eating more meat with saturated fat. So for me, that's been beef, some butter, bacon, eggs, primarily, and some pork as well. But mainly that's what I've been eating. And it's been great. 3 meals a day. It's been amazing. Just going with my hunger. I think what motivated me to make this quick video is just to realize that, yes, obviously God is the great healer, okay? And how he's healing me, like actually healing me, because I feel like pharmaceuticals can play a part, and clearly they still do, because I'm still on my antidepressants. I'm still taking my cocodamol, and I haven't cut out gabapentin fully, okay? And I'm also still taking my thyroid medication. Great, you know? But I'm also realizing that as I step back and I don't give in to fear, like, oh my gosh, if I forget to take a pill, that's it, I'll be out of control. No. I'm not cutting all my meds at once, cold turkey. That would be foolish. Okay, so pharmaceuticals can play an important part in physical healing and pain management. But it just shows me that diet is critical. Diet is absolutely key. And I would not have been ready to do keto when I first had my back injury, these 9 years ago. I wouldn't have been. Certainly not ready for carnivore. And at that time, I wasn't ready to be out of my victim mentality. My whole identity was about my medical diagnoses. And although today, yes, those things are still very real for me, I had to find my way back to faith. I mean, a deep faith, a deep walk with God. I had to find my way back to my relationship with God, to a faith community. I had to find my way back to that first before I was able to finally go, actually, you know what? I can visualize something better for myself. I can visualize a positive outcome. I can visualize reversing my fibromyalgia and my IBS and my chronic pain and my joint inflammation. I can visualize that. And now that I have the diet behind me that is cutting out all of the inflammation and chronic pain that I used to deal with all the time, now that that's a factor, now that I have this positive outlook, I know that other things will follow. But I also know that I had to be ready for it. And the reality is that 9 years ago, I wasn't ready to walk back to God. I wasn't ready to deal with my bulimia, with my restrictive eating habits and patterns. I wasn't ready to deal with my anxiety. I wasn't ready to face my disordered relationship with food, my food addictions. I wasn't ready to deal with any of that. I wasn't ready to just stop and exist and trust God. I wasn't ready for it. Thankfully, though, God was patient and he waited for me. And in 2020, when I was actually obese, over 200 pounds, by the end of May of 2020, well, something had to change. Then I was ready. I wanted to get my weight down. I wanted to get the fat off. I wanted to ease the pain in my joints, in my lower back. I wanted all of that. I didn't think that I would get brain fog cleared up. And yet, when I went to keto, it started to lift. When I went full carnivore, completely gone. Completely gone. and I will be forever grateful. You know, God wants us to eat meat, to thrive, and to do great things for him. That's his hope for us as people. Now, we all have a choice. We can choose to eat like that or not. Our ancestors certainly did eat a fair bit of meat. Our prehistoric ancestors ate as much meat as they could when they could find it. They would have eaten, fruit or plants in times of starvation, to avoid starvation, in times of where they were unable to eat meat regularly. Yes, they would have filled up on fruit and plants of some kind to prevent starvation. But ultimately, God's plan was always for us to eat animals. How do I know? Well, for example, amino acids. We do not produce those ourselves. But the very essential acids we require are easily, or what scientists would term, are bioavailable. We can easily get them from fatty sources of animal meats. That's skeletal meat. That does not mean you have to eat organs. If you enjoy organs, if you're somebody who likes to eat organs, go ahead. But everything we need is in the skeletal muscle meat. Best sources are the ruminant animals, so caribou, bison, beef, sheep, or lamb and sheep, okay? And then, of course, if you live in parts of the world where you are hunting things like zebras and gazelles and antelope, fine, go ahead, So deer is also a ruminant animal, an animal with multiple stomachs to properly and thoroughly digest all the cellulose and fibers that they consume so that it gets broken down fully, and then that becomes converted into protein for muscles. It also gets converted into the fat on those particular animals, which we then consume, which then nourish us. Now, people can eat whatever they want to eat. I personally strictly eat animal meats and eggs. That's it. So what I eat is animal products. So that would be skeletal muscle meat from an animal. In my case, beef. Beef is what I crave. Beef is what I love. So for me, that is ground beef, ground mince, that is 20% fat. That's what I love to eat. I cook it in the frying pan, add a couple egg yolks, top it with some cooked bacon. Delicious. That's generally what I eat. I will sometimes have sausages. I will occasionally eat a bit of lamb, sometimes a little bit of brisket or steak on rare occasions, but the majority of what I have, ground beef, egg yolks, bacon. And when I have coffee, it is only after I've eaten something. Never on an empty stomach any longer. Okay, and that works well for me. That's what works great for me. If you read in Genesis chapter 1, and I think it's in chapter 9, where it's clearly laid out the order in which God created the things on the earth for a reason. So first it was the earth, then the skies, and the land and the seas, right? What are the first things he created on the land? The plants. Those with seeds and those without. So grasses, fruits, vegetables, okay? Then what came next? Birds, fish, the land animals, who would eat these items, who would eat these things, as well as each other. And then after that, that's when mankind came. Why? Because the plants had to be there first in order to feed the animals that would then feed the medium-sized animals that would feed the bigger predator animals that would then be food for us. So so it kind of makes sense, really, if you think about it. But, sorry, side topic. But I have been feeling so incredible lately. I really, really have. I still need to go in my electric wheelchair if I'm going into town. It's still too far for me to walk. And part of me feels like I just want to be able to start running and jumping and dancing and walking everywhere. And I'm not there yet, but it doesn't mean I won't get there. And I know that as long as I keep eating this way, as long as I keep all the other stuff out of my diet, some of it crap, some of it just stuff I don't tolerate, as long as I keep all of that out and I stick to animal meats and products, so butter, right? Maybe a little bit of dairy, butter, slight bit of dairy, cheese once in a while, but otherwise, beef, butter, bacon, eggs is 98% of what I eat. And I feel fantastic. And my IBS is starting to come under control. My face is slowly starting to clear up. Now that could be just because hormones, could be a bit of oxalate dumping, or both. But outside of that, I feel fantastic. I really, really do. I have so much energy and joy and purpose in my life. And I make these videos because I want to say, look, wherever you might be, whether you have fibromyalgia that is so bad you can barely get out of bed, there is hope. Okay? I was there. I was absolutely there. 9 years ago, when I got injured and the fibromyalgia kicked in, wow, no, forget about it. That was it. You know what I came to realize partly is the reason why the pain medication had to keep being increased, and yet my body would adapt and the pain would still be so bad. I did not know this at the time, but thanks to a video that's been put out recently by Pim Janssen, where she interviews her partner, Professor Bart Kay, on hacking the placebo effect for pain relief. And what it is he talks about how he himself lived with horrible fibromyalgia pain. Horrible. And that he pretty much considers it in his past. And he was in bed a long time. There was a lot of it can come down to, yes, injury, but also stress from people, from situations, environment. All of that will add to it, which I was told, but I didn't really think much about it. But the issue, he pointed out, is this. With fibromyalgia, the brain is completely convinced that a part of us, or parts of us, have been injured, that there is pain there. And because the brain is absolutely determined and convinced that you've got pain in your back or your arm or your neck, well, then we feel the pain. But if we were to be put under infrared imaging to figure out, to try to see those pain points, nothing would show up on a scan because there isn't actually pain, there is no actual injury in that particular area with fibromyalgia pain. What it is the brain is for whatever reason is sending out and or receiving false signals screaming, there's pain. Meanwhile, but there's no injury, which is sometimes why, you could bump your toe relatively gently and anybody else would be like, oh, that wasn't nice. That kind of hurts. And fine, 10 minutes later, you feel better. For me, with fibromyalgia, what that means is the pain would be the same sort of pain you might feel if you actually sprained your toe or fractured it or, even broke it potentially. because the inflammation, which is what you would see if there was actual injury, the inflammation is not in that part of your body. That inflammation is because something's inflamed in your brain. The problem is in the brain. The pain, you are actually feeling pain. However, it's because your brain is getting false signals from inflammation. Typically, it's because some sort of inflammation is in the brain versus you've actually injured yourself. And when I realized that, it was like, oh my goodness, wait a minute. Holy smokes. So my prolapse disc has probably healed, maybe not 100%, but it's healed enough that is that's likely not even what's causing me constant back pain. It's because there was pain there once, and it sent a signal to my brain, but my brain, because of the inflammation that was there, continues to believe you've hurt yourself, you've hurt yourself, you've hurt yourself. Meanwhile, it happened 9 years ago. And from what I can understand, is that the reason why there might have been inflammation after the original injury was because of all the garbage and crap that I was eating, that I spent decades eating. And so even though I've been carnivore for almost 3 years and things are improving, there is probably still some inflammation because, again, up until 3 years ago, I was eating crap. Whether it was processed and refined or not, the inflammation was probably because of all the carbohydrates and fructose and actual glucose type sugary stuff that was going into my body. And so when I realized that, it was like, holy smokes. It's no, I mean, within the first 6 months, my blood results that indicated fatty liver disease completely reversed. My lipids, which I had triglycerides that were twice as much as they should have been at the outermost level, completely down, completely back to where they should be. My HDL finally up, because apparently, what happens is as your triglycerides come down, your HDL can go up. My LDLs came way down, which I know is not even really the bigger concern. It's if you have really high triglycerides and low HDL, that's a bigger issue. And that's completely reversed within probably the first 6 months of being carnivore, and stayed that way for the last 2 years and a bit. And so, great, I don't need to take statins. That's fantastic. And I guess it was on my heart to want to share all this because it's great news. God really did make the human body in such an incredible way that there's so much we can heal ourselves of when we know what to do. And the key, I think, honestly, the key is what we're eating. Now, let me just say this, that if you were to go carnivore today, I'm not saying, oh yeah, all your health issues are going to resolve within 2 weeks. Not what I'm saying at all. If you've had health issues for years, it may take years for them to completely resolve. But that doesn't mean they won't. And it doesn't mean that while they're resolving, that you can't have such an improvement in your life. I know that there is still some inflammation in my brain because I still feel twinges. But I know for a fact that the injury that happened 9 years ago is okay. Every now I'll feel twinges in my knee from where I had a sledding accident 25 years ago. Well, that's repaired itself, but every now and again I still feel twinges there. Why? Why not? Right? I mean, because there's still some false pain signals that my brain's receiving. But I also know that it's going to change. And the more I stick with this, and the more I stick to eating a clean carnivore diet along the lines of what God actually had planned for us to eat, the better I feel. And that alone is an amazing thing, because when you feel good, the endorphins are there, and the dopamine hits are there, and all the feel-good signals in the brain. Wow, it feels incredible. So I know this doesn't have a particular theme, but I've just been feeling so much better these last couple weeks, especially. You know, when I finally realized that if I wait and have coffee after I eat, when I started doing that, it seems silly, but what an amazing difference that made. I do feel that much better. I really do. I feel so much better because of it. And so I'm really thankful for that. And I just wanted to share that with you guys, because it can be easy to think, well, I haven't fixed all my problems all at once, and so I must be doing this wrong. Nope, not at all. You know, as someone said to me once, for example, after each of my children was born, they said, well, look, it took you 9 months to put on the pregnancy weight. It's going to take more than a month for it to come off, which is true, right? But if we've been filling our bodies with an excessive amount of fructose and carbohydrates and processed sugars and seed oils, we will feel better. We will start to feel better fairly quickly. However, long-term healing will take a bit longer, and that's okay. I'm feeling better every day. Every day I feel a little bit better. And to me, that is God working, and working in an amazing way. And for that, I'm so thankful. You know, I don't make any money making these videos at all. I don't get anything for making them or sharing them, other than I hope my journey helps somebody else. Even if it's just one person. You know, how great is that? Because 9 years ago, I never, ever, ever would have thought I would be feeling even a little bit better than I did at that time. And yet here I am. A lot of my pain symptoms almost fully resolved. And you know what? It's incredible. But again, I wasn't meant to know this sooner. I wasn't ready. I wasn't at a place where I was humble and humbled and ready to accept and face before God that, guess what? I need to let go and surrender and trust that He has a better plan than I did. I wasn't ready for that. And even when I first started carnivore, I was trying to do what everyone else was doing, not necessarily listening to my own body, listening to my hunger cues and signals, none of that. I wasn't ready for that. I thought, I got it figured out. I'm on it. Let's do it. And it worked for a while. It did. Coffee for breakfast. Well, of course I'm not hungry. I can go all day, and I'm not that hungry for whatever, because, yeah, I've had so much coffee. But, of course, that's not good for you. Now I'm realizing, hey, nothing wrong with coffee as long as it's after a meal, like a dessert or a special treat, you know, and even then within limitations. But I was only able to start learning that within these last couple weeks. So there's always something new to learn. There's always something new that we can be doing differently, clearly. So, you know, I'm not perfect, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not. One guy was perfect. And last I checked, I'm A, not a guy, and B, not Jesus. So I'm not perfect, but I'm hoping if you guys have been enjoying my imperfect world videos and what I'm learning and what's been helping me, I hope it might help you. Honestly, that's why I do this, because God's given me this amazing gift. Yes, of course, salvation and, being renewed in my relationship with Him, that is incredible. And I will be forever grateful for that. But if He hadn't helped me find a way to actually start to heal by eating an animal-based diet, then the rest of it would never have happened. At least not when it did. I might still be, floating away in a haze of brain fog and depression and anxiety and misery, wondering where God is in all of it. Instead of, I know He's there and He's with me. And so wherever you are at, I promise you that whatever place you might be in, whether you are in excruciating pain from fibromyalgia or brain fog, and you've given up hope, I've been there. Whether you are determined to overcome it and you're not quite sure what that means or how to get there, I've been there too. And if you are someone who really, maybe that isn't your personal struggle, but you are the close friend or beloved family member of somebody who is struggling, then I hope this was helpful. I spent 7 years for sure of feeling like I couldn't be a part of life because of everything that was going on. And yet here I am. And so for that, I will always be thankful. You guys are amazing. I hope you have a fantastic and wonderful Easter weekend, those of you who celebrate it this week. And I thank you so much for your support. Please feel free to share this with whoever you think this could help. I really hope it helps someone. Thank you guys so much for always, 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 always being supportive and your kind words. And I'm hoping maybe after Easter weekend, I might be able to get back into some lives. But I'll definitely try to put some more content up as well. Been busy with learning Ukrainian and just living life. But I'm grateful for all of you who have supported me all along, and I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. You are the best. You are amazing. I really appreciate your support. Bye for now. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter. And I will see you guys in the next video. All right. Bye for now.